Hey guys, it's your girl Designisme. Welcome back to Designisme Daily, where we design our own clothes, we design our own business, and we design our own lives. And in today's video, we're about to jump into the full construction of our upcycled denim crop jacket. Now, this is part 2 of our 2-part video. If you are seeing this video and you have not yet looked at part 1, definitely go view part 1. I'll make sure to link it in the description right down below or somewhere on the screen. Definitely view part 1 before viewing the rest of this video. Part 1 was the Welt pocket tutorial, and we did find a really creative way to incorporate that Welt pocket patch into our upcycle cropped denim jacket. So that's what we're about to jump into today. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, and I hope you guys enjoy.
We lied, but we know we can't water what doesn't grow. Give up, let it go. But we fell apart just in time.
So I'm just picking up exactly where we left off. We have our double welt pocket patch, and this is what we're going to be incorporating into our jacket. We have our pattern pieces, because you cannot do any construction without your pattern pieces, and we did create this pattern from a basic t-shirt, so I'll go ahead and link that video down below. And of course we have our denim jeans that we are going to be deconstructing in order to obtain our fabric. Now I did end up using about I ended up using about 3 or 4 pairs of jeans for this entire jacket, and all I'm doing is just deconstructing, all the pieces of the jeans that has the most potential, so that we can really maximize the amount of fabric that we have available. So I'm just running my razor blade and my scissors and my cutting utensils through all of those jeans, and I'm just making sure that I have enough fabric in front of me in order to cater to the pattern pieces that we would have created. The only not so fun part about all of these jeans, guys, is some of the jeans are really sturdy, and then others are like super flimsy and kind of stretchy. So like this one has a significant amount of stretch, and because it was so worn out, like those fibers were really doing some things. So I'm just adding any additional details to my pattern pieces so that I know how many pieces I need to cut, where I need to add allowance, all of the details that more or less tell me what to do with this pattern. And because I am cutting my pattern pieces into smaller pieces, obviously I would need to add extra allowance on specific parts. I'm also just drafting a custom color specifically for this jacket. So I'm measuring it up just to make sure everything is fitting, and once my pattern pieces are pretty much perfected, I am just going to begin placing my pattern pieces and cutting them onto the available fabric. You will notice that I'm cutting some pieces into smaller pieces, so like my sleeve is a pretty big pattern. However, the available fabric isn't that much, so therefore I started, just cutting my sleeve into smaller pieces and making sure that those pieces could at least fit on a piece of fabric, and then obviously the intention is to assemble those pieces of those pattern pieces to create the entire pattern piece. So this is the part where we decided to incorporate our double welt pocket patch, and it was only right to incorporate this at the back. It's kind of strange because here we have a pocket at the back and we can't even reach the back. But it's really important when you're incorporating something like this, to ensure that the functionality of the pocket remains intact, even when you are playing around with fitting it in or making it work or whatever the case may be. So that's what I'm doing right now. This pattern piece is placed on fold, so that's the reason why I folded the fabric. And of course I am making sure to add the allowance, but I'm cutting and I'm making sure not to cut through my pocket bag, so that's the reason why I just tucked it under and made sure that it was out of place. I could have added a yoke to the back, but I just did not want to. But I could have added a yoke to the back for sure. It was just safer to keep the back cut on fold, because I knew that the only positioning for the welt pocket would have been at the back. So by adding a yoke at the back, it may have actually did some damage to our pocket. So just thought I'll mention that really quickly. But we do have our yoke at the front, which is always great. The front details are what really matter. Even though all the details are important, the front details are what's really important. This pair of jeans actually still fit me, like they fit pretty well, but I think I was just kind of over how worn it was on the crotch area. So as I started cutting out my pattern pieces and I realized, okay, cool, I need more fabric for this, I need more fabric for that, I was just like, okay, let me just go through all of the jeans that's hanging up, and the ones that I really did not want, obviously I already deconstructed, and then like the ones that I did not mind parting with, like this one, I was like, okay, let's go. So before I begin constructing our denim jacket, I just wanted to quickly show you guys the seam finish that I will be using for the entire construction of the denim jacket, and this is called the flat fell seam finish. So I begin by stitching a 5/8 of an inch seam. So this is the amount of allowance that I would have left on my pattern pieces in order to construct the denim jacket. Then what I'm going to do is open out those two pieces of fabric, and of course the two pieces of fabric represents the two pieces of fabric that I'm going to be constructing for each pattern piece. I went ahead and pressed the both sides of my allowance down, and I'm just trimming one of the sides down to 1/4 of an inch. What I'm going to do now is that side that we did not cut, I am just going to fold it over to meet that stitch line, and then I'm going to fold it over again, and I pressed it all the way down just to make it easier for us to run our final stitch. So I'm just running a nice top stitch, a top edge stitch along the edge of that folded part. It's going to keep everything in place, all the excess allowance tucked away, and that is what gives the denim jeans that double stitched sort of a look. This seam finish is extremely strong, and that is the reason why we always use it for denim projects. So I'm not going to be doing too much talking for this part of the video. It's pretty self-explanatory, seeing that I just showed you guys how we construct the flat fell seam finish. So all I'm doing is just putting those pieces together, and I always work on both sides at a time. So I'm working on both the right side and the left side at the same time, just to ensure that all of the pieces are lining up where they're supposed to, and I'm just taking it one stitch at a time, one seam at a time, one folded flat fell at a time. And yeah, we're just continuing to construct. So it was pretty tricky. The denim parts that are a little bit stretchier and lighter, as opposed to the parts that are a little bit heavier, it was kind of difficult to merge those two, and that's why your notches are so important, because sometimes you're lining up your fabric, and if you don't have notches, sometimes the fabric does stretch a great deal when you're constructing. But so long as you have those notches there, and you pin your notches on notches, and you make sure everything is lining up where they're supposed to be, it's really easy to make sure that everything maintains its fit. So this is one thing that I always stress with my students. Notches are your best friends. If you don't have notches, you're gonna stress yourself out. I'm just constructing the collar, and I'm constructing the buttonhole stands, the button stands at the front right there. I did have to do some deconstruction for that, because the first time I put it on, I did do it incorrectly. But once that is on, I went ahead and put my collar on, and I'm just running a double stitch on my collar as well, just to make sure it, maintains its structure and such. The last thing I'm doing, well, before the sleeves of course, is I'm going to put on the band of my jacket. So like at the hem, there's always this really lovely band at the hem of denim jackets, whether it's crop jackets or regular length jackets. There's always this lovely hem, this lovely band at the hem, so that's what I'm constructing right now. And I'm just going to construct my sleeve by putting all of those lovely pieces together. And just like with the rest of the jacket, I'm doing both sleeves at the same time, just to make sure that all of the pieces are lining up exactly where they're supposed to, and there's no confusion. Now, in order to attach my sleeve to the body of the jacket, I did manage to use a French seam, and that's just so that I didn't run into any problems with doing the top stitch and turning it all the way around the sleeve. So I just settled for a French seam, and it came out just as nice. So it really is up to you. I did have a little bit of editing to do on the sleeves, and sometimes that is necessary. You might draft a pattern and you might think the pattern is absolutely perfect, but there are ways to construct your pieces so that you can still make adjustments while you're constructing. So it's really just about knowing what to do and how to be true to this, not new to this. Alright, so I didn't do anything fancy to the sleeve of the jacket. I'm just turning it up 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch again, and then I'm running the same stitch that I ran at the collar. I'm running it at the hem as well. The first stitch and then a second row of stitches, just to give it that nice denim top stitch finish. Right, and there we have it, guys. Nothing fancy, nothing major. I actually did not even add buttons to this, because I really wanted to just keep it nice and clean. I wanted to keep it as a nice simple throw over denim crop jacket, and I'm really super pleased with how it turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like these, do not forget to leave me a like, leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, and of course, I will see you guys in my next one.
But we fell apart just in time.